He thought he could give lectures at a family dinner, so I calmly proved him wrong. My wife loves entertaining, and I don't. Having people over feels like an invasion. I'm already anxious before anyone arrives. Even quiet, small talk grates, and I can't sit still until the last car leaves. I know that's on me, but it doesn't help. Tonight, the guests are other parents from our kids' swim team, people my wife wants to know. One of them is a dad who teaches at the state university. He looks harmless enough, but he's the kind of man everyone has met. Smart-sounding, loud, and always ready to lecture. He calls himself an expert, and he uses that label like a weapon. He interrupts and corrects people, then keeps talking as if a few annoyed glances mean nothing. At a practice, I was talking about bow hunting with another dad, away from the younger kids, trying to keep the subject private and low-key. The professor walked over, listened for a second, and then launched into a lecture about the evils. He put his finger up like he was shushing me, and said he was an expert in the field. He kept going, full steam, judging motives and telling us we were wrong. At practice later the same week, he told anyone who'd listen that he'd gone to a pro baseball game the night before, but he was merely researching human behavior. A few parents hung on his every word. A couple of them seemed thrilled. I felt cornered by his tone, and the way people rewarded him with attention. He didn't aim to discuss, he aimed to dominate. He treated conversations like podiums and smiles like applause. That made me want to leave the pool deck. Now he and his wife are coming to our house for a dinner my wife planned. I felt a tight knot in my chest the whole day. I helped with the food because she needed it. Inside, I worried about what he might say, and whether I should step in if he crossed a line. My wife wanted a polite night. I didn't want to fight. I ran through options in my head while I moved plates and stirred sauce. If he insulted someone, should I speak up? Should I call him out? Or should I let him dig his own hole? The internet answers were split. Some said, don't feed him. Let him be the story people tell after the party. Others said you can set a boundary calmly without yelling. I decided to be the kind of host my wife deserved. I would be polite, but not a doormat. I would leave space for other guests and step in if a line was crossed. When they arrived, he started with the same performance. Loud, precise sentences. The kind that make people think he's smarter than they are. He had more than one drink and his volume grew. He wandered from group to group, inserting judgments and unsolicited takes. He told a mixed-race mother she couldn't understand racial issues. She answered with a quiet, sharp fact about her own father's history. He kept talking. His wife finally said it was time to go, and they left early. Most of the night he floated like a bad smell. Noticeable, annoying, but not lethal. People drifted to other conversations. My wife handled the damage well. I used small moves to diffuse him, asking someone about their kid, pulling a dish from the oven, offering to refill a glass. Each move shifted attention away. When he tried to shush me at the table, I said calmly, that was rude, and kept speaking. He blinked, and the moment lost its fuel. The night tilted back toward the party. A few guests later told me they appreciated how I kept things smooth. My wife smiled like she'd been carrying a weight, and finally set it down. After they left, she put on the kettle and we sat at the sink, letting the quiet grow. I told her I'd been worried, and she said she'd known I was trying. We laughed about small things, and I felt the knot in my chest unwind. The professor had made an ass of himself for a few people to witness, and then he was gone. That felt like the best possible ending. We'd kept the night for the people who mattered, and not for the one who tried to take it. I learned I could protect the evening without losing my cool. I also learned that being a good host doesn't mean you have to let one person ruin the room. Sometimes the right moves are quiet, firm, and practical. When we finally turned off the lights, I felt more tired than angry, and oddly proud. My wife leaned against me and said, thank you. I said, anytime. Small moments saved the night. He tried a big point and no one leaned in, so he muttered. A kid spilled a cup and that laugh reset the room. A mom told a quick story about practice and people smiled. He tried to hijack a question into a lecture. I gave a short reply and asked the next person about work. That shifted attention, and people returned to real talk. After the party, my wife said she noticed I stayed steady. A few parents later said they were relieved someone kept the mood calm. His wife texted to apologize and said they'd argued in the car. I replied it was fine. I didn't want to feed drama. I made a quiet rule for future nights. Watch the room and nudge it toward warmth. If someone tries to take over, move around and ask questions. A short, firm phrase sets a boundary without a scene. If he's invited back, it should be because someone wants him there, not to prove a point. We turned off the lights and sat in quiet. I felt tired and proud. My wife leaned on me and said, thank you. I said, anytime.